Hey everyone, welcome back to Dala Games, and today I want to get a little reflective. Not about mechanics, not about graphics, not even about collectibles. I want to talk about that feeling, that strange, hard to describe moment when you finish a game. The quiet after the storm, as they say, and what it means when something you've spent hours with finally ends. It's one of those things that sneak up on you, not during the boss fight or the final cutscene, but right after. When the music fades, the screen goes dark, and your brain hasn't quite caught up to the fact that it's over. You're still holding the controller, but there's nothing left to do. And somehow, that stillness hits harder than anything the game threw at you. There's this weird bittersweet emotion that sneaks up on you when you finish a video game, especially a long one. You spent tens, maybe hundreds of hours immersed in its world, bonded with its characters, memorized towns, leveled up weapons, and probably listened to the same overworld theme so many times that it now lives in your spine somehow. Then suddenly, the credits roll, and you're just sitting there, staring, wondering what you're supposed to do with your hands. I bring all this up because I just finished Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and yeah, it hit hard. That final stretch wasn't just a climax. It felt like the culmination of everything the game had been quietly preparing me for. That surreal beauty, that strange poetry in every enemy encounter, the way it makes you feel like you're fighting through art itself. It all builds to something bigger than just beating a boss. When the credits rolled, I didn't feel victorious. I felt displaced, like I'd just woken up from a dream I wasn't ready to leave. There was no fanfare, no celebration, just the heavy contemplative silence that follows something deeply personal. I just sat there for a while, letting it wash over me. What makes Expedition 33 linger is that it's not afraid of stillness. It gives you space to feel the weight of your choices, your progress, even your uncertainty. There's no victory lap, no sudden tone shift, just the haunting beauty of a world that always felt a little too fragile to hold on to. And when it ends, when it really ends, it leaves you with this exact feeling I've been talking about. That quiet moment of sitting in front of a screen, controller in hand, heart full, wondering how the hell you're supposed to move on after this. Because honestly, you don't. Not really. You just carry it with you. It's not just the ending that stays with you. It's the pacing of the descent. Expedition 33 doesn't rush to its conclusion. It lets you feel the weight of your journey, dragging out those final moments like a long exhale. The last battle feels less like triumphs and more like farewells, and every line of dialogue carries the ache of something slipping away. Even the UI feels quieter, like the game itself knows it's almost time to say goodbye. And when it finally releases you, it doesn't slam the door shut. It gently closes it behind you, and suddenly the world outside the game feels too loud, too real, too fast. You try to replay scenes in your head, revisit the music, maybe even boot it back up, but it's not the same. That first journey is gone, and what's left is a feeling that's hard to describe, but impossible to shake. It's not sadness exactly, it's more like a hollow echo, a sense that you've just been evicted from a second home you didn't realize you were living in full time. The game didn't end exactly. You were just asked to leave politely. It's like being told your summer camp is closing and all your camp friends are NPCs, and now you're standing in your living room with a controller and no purpose. Part of what intensifies that feeling is how vividly you remember your first few hours with the game. The initial excitement, the confusion, the tentative steps into a world you didn't yet understand. By the end, you're not the same player who started. You've grown, changed tactics, and maybe even evolved personally alongside your characters. When it's all over, you can't help but feel a subtle sense of loss for the player you were at the beginning. I think RPGs hit hardest in this regard, mostly because of how personal the journey becomes. When you finally defeat that final boss, it's not just a mechanical victory, it's an emotional one. And the credits don't feel like an ending. They feel like someone slowly closing the book you weren't ready to stop reading. There's also this phenomenon I call endgame daze. You know exactly what I mean. After the credits roll, you wander aimlessly through towns you no longer need, revisiting NPCs who now have nothing new to say, trying to hold on to this fading magic. It's like strolling through an empty theater after a performance, lingering in silence long after the applause has faded. What makes it more complicated is how much of yourself you end up projecting onto your experience. Your schedule, your mood, your little rituals while playing. It all becomes part of this routine. Okay, I'll do side quests while I eat dinner. I'll play an hour before bed. I'll save right before the big boss and then procrastinate actually fighting them for 3 days because I am just not emotionally prepared. Finishing the game isn't just the ending of a narrative arc. It's the disruption of a routine you created for comfort. And let's be honest, part of this struggle is also the knowledge that the real world awaits. When you were deep in the game, real-life obligations felt distant, manageable, or even irrelevant. But as soon as those credits finish rolling, reality comes flooding back in, and suddenly you have bills, deadlines, responsibilities, all waiting impatiently outside your gaming bubble. There's a strange inertia to it too. You finish a game, sit through the credits, and then what? Start New Game Plus? Boot up another title? Stare blankly at your shelf or digital library and feel nothing for any of them? It's like your brain needs a detox period. A sort of cool down to mourn the imaginary friends you just left behind. Sometimes I'll literally not finish a game on purpose. I'll stop just before the final boss, knowing that as long as I don't roll credits, the world still exists in the state of possibility. It's Schrodinger's save file, kind of. And yeah, I know that's completely irrational, but if you ever walked away from a game because you didn't want it to end, you get it. Yeah, despite the melancholy, there's something uniquely satisfying about looking at a completed game on your shelf or digital library. It's proof of a journey taken, a challenge overcome. Even years later, just seeing that title scroll by can bring back waves of nostalgia and a quiet sense of accomplishment, as if you've marked your own personal milestone in life. And this is why some people fall into the post-game spiral. Not for more loot or achievements, but for closure. The optional boss, the bonus ending, the epilogue that makes things feel a little bit more complete. We're trying to soften the blow of goodbye. Trying to convince ourselves that the story isn't over if there's still one more quest. But eventually, it is over. And that's okay. Games end. They're supposed to. And when they do, they leave behind something better than a high score or a platinum trophy. They leave you with a memory, a vibe, a piece of yourself, still wandering around that world, long after the console's been turned off. Now, if you've ever felt post-credit void or found yourself aimlessly scrolling through your library after finishing something that meant something, you're not alone. Let me know in the comments what game gave you that feeling, that one you still think about long after the save file's gone cold. And if you like this little reflection, consider subscribing to this channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next one. Take care.